It is so great to have you join with us again for another VKIDS Sunday morning, and it is good to see you here as well with us, Hamilton. And Hamilton, you seem to be wearing a crown. You look really, really great. Is that to do with our story later on? Yeah, I think that might be the clue to something that's happening in our story. So that's something to look forward to. We've also got the God Spot. You're going to meet a new friend of mine as well, and we've got our worship song. So lots to look forward to. So let's go. Okay, it's time for the God Spot now, and I think this week we're actually going to hear from Hamilton and what God's been teaching him this week, and then we'll have a look at what you guys have been sending in as well. So let's head over to the God Spot.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to share something about joy and what makes me happy. And I was thinking about this week, what makes me happy, what makes me sad or angry or feel like things are unfair. And I was just thinking that at the moment that we can find God in all of these moments. We can find joy in all of these moments because God is with us when we're feeling angry or sad, and God is with us when we're happy and things are going well. So he's with us in the good moments and the bad moments, and that's just something that I'm really thankful for this week.
Okay, so let's see what you have sent in this week. So this week we have had Blake, who sent in this picture to us from a few weeks ago when we were doing the story of Jesus Calms the Storm. You might remember that I had water thrown in my face a couple of times. And Blake has sent in this lovely picture of a boat in a storm, just like Jesus can calm all of our storms by just saying to the waves to be quiet. So this is really great to see. Thank you, Blake. And also don't forget that you can send anything in to us at our vkids@vintagechurchla.com email address. It can be crafts, it can be pictures, it can be a thought, or if you just want to say hi, please do write into that email address. Oh, Hamilton, look, it's the leaf. That must mean that there's a message from God in the post box. So should we have a little look? See if I can see. Yes, look, we've got a scroll in the post box. Let's open that up and I'll read what it says. It's another Bible verse, and it says, "In all things God works for the good of those who love him," which is from the book of Romans 8 verse 28. And I think that's another clue to our story, which is going to be a story about how this happened in the Bible. So let's go to our story now. So our story today comes from the book of Genesis, which is the first book in the Bible. And in our story, there's a man named Jacob who has 12 sons, and he has a favourite son named Joseph. Now he gives Joseph a very, very special coat, but he doesn't give Joseph's brothers a very special coat. He only gives it to Joseph. And Joseph starts to have dreams that all his brothers are bowing down to him. And instead of keeping these dreams to himself, he decides to tell his brothers that he's having dreams that they were all bowing down to him. Now, I think his brothers would be a bit annoyed about this, and they were. They were really angry. They took his coat, they ripped it up, they threw him in a pit, then they sold him as a slave, and Joseph ended up in Egypt. And when he was in Egypt, he then got put in prison for something he didn't even do. So things were not going well for Joseph. And then, while Joseph was in prison, Pharaoh, that's the king of Egypt, started having strange dreams. And Pharaoh started to dream that lots of fat cows were gobbling up lots of thin cows. And he didn't know what the dream meant, but he did know that Joseph, who was in prison, was a dream expert. So Pharaoh got Joseph out of prison to help to tell him what the dream meant. So Joseph listened to Pharaoh, and he told Pharaoh that the dream meant that there was a time coming where there wouldn't be enough food for everybody, and that was called famine, where there isn't enough food for everybody. And Pharaoh was so impressed that Joseph had been able to tell him what the dream meant that he took him right out of prison and he moved him into the palace as a prince. So Joseph went straight from prison to the palace. Amazing. But while Joseph was in the palace, all the way back home, where his dad and his brothers were living, it was true that there wasn't enough food. So Joseph's brothers and family all travelled to Egypt to see if they could find some food there. And they went to visit this new prince, and they bowed down before him and they asked him for food. But they didn't recognise that it was Joseph. And Joseph's dreams that he'd been having at the beginning of the story were coming true. His brothers were bowing down to him. And Joseph said, "Hey, it's me, Joseph." And when his brothers realised who it was, they felt really afraid. They thought, "Oh no, Joseph's going to punish us for what we did to him. But Joseph looked at them, and even though they'd done such horrible things to him, he still couldn't help love them. And he decided to forgive them and welcome them in and make sure that they were okay and make sure they had enough food and bring them in and give them a home in Egypt. Hello everyone, my name is Professor IB Bonkers. And I'm going to show us a little bit of a science experiment that's going to help us understand the story of Joseph a little bit more. Because in that story, it did not look like it was going to have a happy ending, didn't it? But then it did. Brilliant. Right, so for this, you're going to need, this is a coffee filter. So it's just a very thin piece of paper, basically. And a pen, black pen. Right, I've got this piece of paper down here as well, but that's just to make sure I don't draw on the table. Right, so we've got my coffee filter, and I'm just going to cut out the bit in the middle, just in a circle. Now, it doesn't have to be that neat and tidy, just a circle like that. And if you're a creative person, you can make something out of that later, maybe a rainbow. Send in your ideas. Right, so we've got my circle. I mean, it's probably the worst circle I've ever cut, but there we go. It's live TV, isn't it? Right, I'm going to draw a circle on the circle, just a black circle in the middle, about the size of a coin. Just going to colour that in with your black pen. We're just going to keep going until it's all coloured in, which might take a few moments. There we go. Now, can you see? What we've got there is just a circle, sort of, with just a black circle in the middle, what I've coloured in. It doesn't look like anything special, it's just a black circle, probably thinks that's the end, but the thing is, it's not the end. And that's like in our story of Joseph. When he was put in the prison, he must have thought it's the end now, but he ended up in the palace because God was with him, God loved him all the way through all those hard times, and then he used all those difficult times and brought them together for good, which is what he can do in our lives as well. So you just think you've got a black dot here. What I've got here is a drink of water. I've not drunk it all because I need to use it for this experiment. So we've got my black dot. I'm then just going to take, that's the oven because I'm going to do some cooking in a minute. Right. We're going to take a little bit of water and just splash it on the dot. So I've just done a few splashes. I've done 2, 3, just a few more splashes there, 4, 5, a little bit more splashes. And what you'll see if you do try this at home is that the black dot, all the colours start spreading out, and you'll start to see a lot more colours, not just the black colour. And what we'll learn from that is there's loads more colours rather than just the black. And like in our lives, you might think you're one thing, you might think your life's going in one direction or that you're not really much. But then God can use everything and just change things for you. Right, I'm just gonna, so this takes a few moments. You might be able to see, I'm not sure if you can see it there, it just still looks a bit black, doesn't it? But I've got one that I've been working on for a while over here, one that I did earlier. And you can see there's purple, there's yellow, there's some green in there, there's all sorts of different colours in there that have come out of that black dot. So things that look one way might not always be that way, that's the thing. Because here's the thing, if you've made a mistake in your life or there's a situation that you don't think is ever going to change, let me tell you, God can use it and he can use it to change things. He can use our biggest mistakes. You think you're in the prison and you might end up in the palace with God in our lives. Now here's a story for you, everyone. So, once there was this lady and her name was Ruth Wakefield, and she was a cook, but you might call it a chef here, right? And she was making some cookies, but you might call them cookies here. So what I've got here, look, got some cookie dough, and she was just making plain chocolate cookies, just plain chocolate, but then she realised that she didn't have the chocolate that she needed. So she thought, I know what I'll do, I'll get my chocolate, I'll break it up into bits, I'll put it in the dough and I'll mix it all together. But then she was like, that's just going to make the whole thing just like, it's all going to melt, it's not going to work, what am I going to do? So anyway, I made this cookie dough myself. So who knows if it's going to taste good or not. Don't know. Here I've got a baking tray. So what she did, she broke up the chocolate, she put it in little cookies like this, put them in the tray, and then she thought it wasn't going to work out, it was going to be a disaster. But actually, when she got them out of the oven, she'd accidentally invented chocolate chip cookies. What? So she thought she'd made a mistake, she thought it wasn't going to work out, and she ended up inventing one of the best things ever. So that's just a little story of someone who thought that something they were doing wouldn't have a good ending, and it did, just like in our story of Joseph. So we can remember that in our lives, God works everything together for the good of those who love him, which is a great thing to remember, isn't it? Yeah.
Right, it's time for our memory verse now. So it's from the book of Romans, which is in the New Testament. Maybe you can see if you can find it in your Bibles at home. And it's Romans 8. And when you find Romans 8, if you look down to find verse 28, and that's our verse that we're learning this week. So I think Fiona's going to read it to us now. Over to you, Fiona. Righto.
In all things, God works for the good of those who love him. Romans 8, verse 28.
Okay, so we've got our worship now. So before Hamilton leads us in 10 press-ups, his suggestion, I'm going to just lead us through some of the movements of the song that we did last week, because as you might remember, there are a lot of moves in this song. So we've got this one, which goes forwards, and then we bring it back. Yep, and then we've got this one, and we've got a lot of this, and also, as you all know, my favourite, the fist pump, a lot of that, and also your air guitar. If in doubt, just go for the air guitar, that's what I would say. So Hamilton, if you want to lead us in our 10 press-ups, and then let's everyone stand up and worship together. Here we go. Oh, right, press-ups. Oh, gosh, right, okay, I'll give it a go. Here we go, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Will run dry. Sing it out. It's an open heaven you're releasing, and we will never be denied. Cause we're stirring up. Cause we're stirring up deep, deep wells. We're stirring up deep, deep waters. We're gonna dance in the river. Dance in the river. Cause we're stirring up deep, deep wells. We're stirring up deep, deep waters. We're gonna jump in the river. Jump in the river. Deep cries out, deep cries out, deep cries out, deep cries out, we cry out to you, Jesus. to the right. We're gonna jump, 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 jump in the river. Jump, 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 everybody. If he goes to the left, then we'll go to the left. And if he goes to the right, then we'll go to the right. We're gonna dance, 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 dance in the river. Dance, 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 everybody. If he goes to the left, then we'll go to the left. And if he goes to the right, then we'll go to the right. We're gonna jump, 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 jump in the river. Jump, 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 everybody. If he goes to the left, then we'll go to the left. And if he goes to the right, then we'll go to the right. We're gonna shout, 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 shout in the river. Shout, 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 yeah.
Has been so great having you all join with us again this morning for our VKIDS online, and don't forget to check out our follow-up curriculum, which is at vintagechurchla.com/VKIDS for all our midweek activities that you can be doing there, and also the information about our Godspot and Zoom praise party are in your parents' emails, so ask them to check there for the links. But we hope that you have an amazing week. So from Hamilton and me, it's goodbye and see you next week. Bye.